So hi all, welcome to the next session on the discussion of theory of scattering. So today we are going to discuss the second part of the scattering of spinless particle. Okay, so what we have discussed till now is in case of scattering problem, we'll have some incident particles. So incident particle will be moving towards the target, and we have a target here. Target over here, and obviously we'll have a scattering particle. Okay, this incident is scattering and scattering center. Okay, so therefore the total wave function of this system in anyhow we can write the total wave function is of the form, and the wave function for the incident particle plus the wave function for the scattered particle. And we already found that the wave function of the incident particle will take the form of some normalization constant into e raised to I k dot r or k0 dot r, and the wave function for the scattered particle will take the form some normalization constant into f of theta phi e raised to I k dot r by r. So it will be a spherical wave. Scattering wave function will be a spherical wave, and the incident wave function is a plane wave. And here we introduce a new function f of theta phi. Okay, so this f of theta phi is called the scattering amplitude. F of theta phi is called scattering amplitude, and we have found that in case of the spinless particle, the scattering cross section d sigma by d omega, which is a function of theta phi, that would be simply become f of mod square of f of theta phi. Okay, it's for elastic scattering. So we are not considering about the internal structure of the scattering center for elastic scattering. Okay, so far we have discussed till here. Okay, so next we should know how to find this f of theta phi, or the scattering amplitude. Okay, so in this today's lecture we'll discuss up to some point about how to find the size scattering. Okay, so once you find size scattering, that is this the wave function for the scattering particle, then it is possible to find what is your scattering amplitude. So that is the route that we are going to take today. Okay, so we will find the expression for the scattering wave function, and in the next class we will eventually find the exact expression for the scattering amplitude. Okay. Okay, so today we can start with the Schrodinger equation for scattering. So the Schrodinger equation for scattering can be written as a one-dimensional problem of a single particle problem, as using the reduced mass. So minus h bar square by 2 mu del square psi of r plus v of r psi of r equal to e psi of r. Okay, and we know that for are very large, that is if the incident particle is very far away from the scattering center, then this v of r tend to 0, then this equation will take the Helmholtz equation. Okay, so that we already know. Okay, now we can have some rearrangement. So this can be written as del square psi of r plus 2 mu e by h bar square psi of r equal to mu by h bar square V of r psi of r. So I have just rearranged it. I have taken the V of r term to the right side and energy term to the left side. Now this 2 mu E by h bar square is already expressed as k square, and therefore this equation becomes del square plus k square acting on psi of r equal to mu V of r by h bar square psi of r. Okay, so these are the origins from the equation. Now for r tends to infinity, V of r tends to 0, and our equation becomes del square plus k square acting on psi of r becomes 0. Okay, this equation is nothing but Helmholtz equation. Okay, now, okay, so we can go back to our original equation. So this is our original equation, the enders from the equation. Now, how to find the psi of r? And there is one way to solve this problem. That is, you can use the Green's function technique to find the solution for this particular differential equations. Okay, so the Green's function technique is one of the technique to find the solution for the differential equations. Okay, now what is Green's function? Okay, so Green's function is basically solution for a differential equation for a unit source. So if you look at this differential equation, the right hand side can be considered as a source. Okay, this right side, this expression is considered to be source of this differential equation. Okay, now the Green's function is a solution for a differential equation for a unit source. Okay, or in other words, if g of r comma r prime is a Green's function for this particular equation, then the Green's function is defined to be del square plus k square acting on g of r prime gives Dirac delta r minus r prime. So since it is a three-dimensional Dirac delta function, you can put some symbol 3. That is not required always, okay? Because anyhow, this vector is a three-dimensional vector, so there is no need to put 3. Okay, if you want put 3 here, it's okay. Okay, so del square plus k square acting on g will give del cube. So this g is basically a solution for this differential equation if the source is unity or if the source is a Dirac delta function. Okay, so if g is the Green's function for this particular differential equation, then what would be the solution? Okay, now here if you look at this Helmholtz equation, so Helmholtz equation is the solution for the psi of the homogeneous equation. So better the solution for this homogeneous equation, I will just put psi 0 of r, okay, for the time being. Then the entire solution for the original equation can be written in another way. The psi of r, I can write psi 0 of r plus integral Lagrange function g of r prime. Then your source is 2 mu by h bar square v of r prime psi of r prime d cube r prime. So I can rewrite my psi of r in this way. Now remember, this equation is not basically the solution for this Schrodinger equation, because if you look at this expression, the left side is psi of r, but the psi is also coming on the right side. So there is a psi of r prime here. So this is not the solution for the this differential equation, but in other words, it is the integral form of this differential equation. So this basically an integral form of differential equation. So you can convert a differential equation into an integral equation using the Green's function. And once you find the Green's function, then you can, it is possible to find the solution for that differential equation using some approximations. Okay, so all these things we will discuss in this module, that is how to find the solution. Okay, anyhow, you might be familiar with the applications of Green's function, how to use Green's function to find the solution of differential equation and so on. So it may not be a very difficult task for you. Okay, so I think this expression is convincing to you. If you are not convinced, then what you can do is you can just substitute this expression psi of r into our original equation. Okay, for the time being we can give some number for it. Okay, let it this be equation number 1, and this is equation number 2, equation number 3, and equation number 4. So if you substitute equation number 4 into equation number 1, what will you get? Okay, you can check that whether it is correct or not. Okay, you just put this I of r to the substitute equation number 4 in the left side of equation number 1, and you will get this RHS. Okay, so I think better I will do that. Okay, so if you look at the LHS, LHS of 1, what is LHS of 1? Del square plus k square psi of r. Okay, so just substitute the psi of r. So the psi of r is psi 0 of r plus integral g of r comma r prime q mu by h bar square v of r prime psi of r prime dq bar prime. Okay, now this can be split into two. First one is del square plus k square acting on psi 0 of r plus integral del square plus k square acting on g of r prime 2 mu by h bar square v of r prime psi of r prime dq bar prime. Okay, I've split that into two. Now, what is psi 0 of r? Psi 0 of r is a solution for homogeneous differential equation. So del square plus k square acting on psi 0 of r is nothing but 0. Plus, now what would be this expression? Del square plus k square acting on g of r prime. Remember, this del square is depending on r, it is based on r and not on r prime. So del square will not act on v of r prime or psi of r prime. It will act only on g of r prime, because g is a function of both r and r prime. So the del square will act only on g. So del square plus k square acting on g, that we have already know, del square plus k square acting on g of r prime would give the Dirac delta function. So this is integral the Dirac delta function r minus r prime 2 mu by h bar square v of r prime psi of r prime dq bar prime. Okay, so I have to integrate over r prime. If you integrate over r prime, there is a Dirac delta function here. So you have to just replace all r prime with r. That is the final result. So this would give 2 mu by h bar square v of r psi of r. And what is the left side? Del square plus k square acting on psi of r. So this equation is nothing but your equation number 1. Okay, so indeed this equation number 4 is a correct equation. Okay, the equation number 4 actually represent the integral form of our original differential equation, or is the integral form of the Schrodinger equation. Okay, so the integral form, sorry, so integral form of Schrodinger equation, this can be known as psi of r equal psi 0 of r plus 2 mu by h bar square integral g of r comma r prime v of r prime psi of r prime d cube r prime. Now what would be the psi 0 of r? Psi 0 of r is the solution for the homogeneous differential equation. Psi 0 of r will take the form e raised to I k dot r, or it is nothing but psi incident of r. So the psi 0 of r I can write as psi incident of r. So hence our equation, the integral form psi of r becomes psi incident of r plus 2 mu by h bar square integral g of r comma r prime b of r prime psi of r prime d cube r prime. Okay, now let us go back to our a final solution for this wave function. So if you look at the for scattering problem, the wave function is the superposition of the incident wave function and the scattering wave function. Okay, so here the incident wave function is here. Then what about this term? Okay, so on comparing with our original equation, so on comparing with the total wave function, which is the combination of, or which is superposition of the incident and scattered wave function. So by just comparing these two, we can identify that the scattering wave function will take the form 2 mu by h bar square integral g of r comma r prime v of r prime psi of r prime d cube r prime. Now we have got the expression for the scattering wave function. Okay, now again this is not a direct solution, because if you look at the right side there is a psi here. So again we don't know what is this psi. Okay, now further step is now the next is we should find this Green's function, the form of the Green's function. Now once you know the Green's function, then you can use certain approximation method. The approximation method we are going to use is called the Born approximation. So using Born approximation method, it is possible to find the scattering wave function up to certain approximation. Then thereafter we can find what is the scattering amplitude, and obviously we'll get about the information about the differential scattering cross section. So that is the under plan. Okay, now in the next class we'll discuss about how to find this Green's function. Now before going to the solution for the Green's function, we can have one small discussion about the Green's function also. That is, we can discuss one of the property, how should be the mathematical structure of the Green's function. Okay, so the one thing you have to remember is okay, just the properties of a Green's function. So one important thing we have to remember is the Green's function is translationally invariant. Green's function is translationally invariant. There is suppose you already have a vector r. Now if you change this vector r to some vector r plus a, okay, and we have vector r prime, and we have changed this vector with the same amount r prime plus a. That is, we are changing the vector by an equal amount. So it is called the translation. Okay, suppose you have some origin here and you change the origin to r prime, new origin. So this new origin is separated by distance vector a. So if you change r to r plus a and r prime to r prime plus a, then the Green's function will not change. Okay, so how to prove that? So in order to prove it, the first thing is if you look at this the Green's function here, so del square plus k square acting on g r prime is Dirac delta function r minus r prime. Okay, now it is very clear that the right hand side is basically depending upon the separation between r and r prime. So if you add a constant vector to both r and r prime simultaneously, then there will not be any change in the r minus r prime. So that means your the Dirac delta function del cube r minus r prime is translationally invariant. Now, what about the left side? So if you look at the left side, the k square is just a constant. So it is obviously a translation event because k square, what is k square, which is 2 mu e by h bar square. So it is a constant. So it is obviously a translation event. And what about del square? Okay, whether del square is translation invariant or not. Okay, so it is difficult to it is not very easy to prove the translation invariance of del square. So instead of that, what we'll prove is the translation invariant of a derivative. Okay, so if you look at the derivative d by dx. Okay, now you change your x to some x plus a and just denote it by symbol x prime. So whether d by dx and d by dx prime are same or not, where x prime is x plus a. Okay, so we can look at d by dx prime. So d by dx prime I can write as d by dx into dx by dx prime. Is it okay? Now what is dx by dx prime? Because x you can write x prime minus a, x prime minus a. So dx by dx prime, that will simply become 1. So it become d by dx. So d by dx prime is same as d by dx. So derivative is translationally invariant. If you change the variable with a constant term, so x to x prime, by adding some constant a, then there is no difference in the uh, derivative. So the derivative is translationally invariant. So if the derivative is translationally invariant, then obviously del square would also be translationally invariant because del square is nothing but derivative. Okay, so on the left side, the del square plus k square is the translation invariant, and on the right side, the Dirac delta function is also translation invariant. Then, indeed, this g of r prime must be translation invariant. So Green's function for this particular equation must be translationally invariant. Second order differential equation. Okay, so so that's it. So this is one of the thing we have to remember. So this Green's function, if you look at the Green's function, since it is translationally invariant, so what should be the form of the Green's function? Okay, so since g r prime is translationally invariant, and therefore g of r comma r prime must be function of modulus of r minus r prime. Okay, so it should not depending upon the exact value of r and r prime, it should depend upon the separation between the difference between r and r prime. Okay, so this we have to remember because once you get the solution for the Green's function, we have to check that whether it is depending upon modulus of r minus r prime or not. Okay, so for the time being, we can stop it here. Okay, so what we have done so far is we have started with the total wave function of the scattering problem. It is a superposition of the incident wave function, the scattered wave function. And we have expressed the scattering wave function in terms of the Green's function of the differential equation. Okay, so for that, first we introduce the Green's function. So your original Schrodinger equation we can write in this way, where the right side is a source, can be treated as a source. So the Green's function is a solution for the differential equation with the unit source, or in other words, a Dirac delta function. Dirac delta function can be treated as a unit source for the time being. Okay. Now this del square plus k square acting on G, we should give a Dirac delta function. So then your psi of r can be a psi 0 of r, where psi 0 of r is the solution for the homogeneous differential equation plus an integral term. Okay, so again, this is not the solution for the Schrodinger equation. It is just another mode of writing of the Schrodinger equation. Is called the integral form of Schrodinger equation, because in the right side, there is a psi here. Okay, so since we don't know psi, it cannot be called as a solution. So on the right side also, the unknown thing is there. Okay, so we have just checked the validity of that solution, not solution, that integral form, and we have found indeed it is correct. Okay, so this can be treated as your the integral form of Schrodinger equation, where the first term can be identified as the incident wave function, because it is a solution for uh, um, the uniform, sorry, homogeneous Schrodinger equation. Okay, it can be treated as the incident wave function. It takes the form e raised to ik dot r form, and therefore the scattering wave function can be identified this expression. So this is an integral form. So in the next class, what we'll do is we'll find the explicit expression for this Green's function. Okay, and once you find this explicit form of the Green's function, we can find psi scattering. Okay, so remember there is a psi of r prime here, but there are ways to find the psi scattering using some approximations called Born approximation. Okay, so we can stop it here, and in the next class, we'll discuss how to find the Green's function for this particular problem. So thank you, everyone. If you want, you can just revise the topic of Green's function that you already studied in your mathematical physics, and you can also just go through um, the properties of the Fourier transformation, because in next class we'll be using Fourier transformation to some extent to find the solution, to find the explicit form of Green's function. Okay, so thank you all for watching. See you in the next class.